After Old Man Ma returned, Lu Yuan Town offered him several words of consolation, which helped ease the tension and frustration on the old man's face. However, the situation quickly changed when the black-robed spell warrior and the shriveled old man quietly discussed something among themselves. The black-robed figure then floated into the air and returned to the location where the previous battle had taken place. He coldly swept his gaze across the other cultivators, and a trace of contempt appeared in his eyes. In a hoarse voice, he declared that this time he would fight personally, but warned everyone beforehand that the battle would continue until one side was dead. He explicitly stated that nobody should expect to stop the fight once it had begun. His arrogant declaration angered both Jiyu Shuangpu and Lu Yuan Town. But neither dared accept his challenge. They knew that this strange spell warrior had already killed 2 nascent soul cultivators. So despite their anger, they valued their lives too much to recklessly fight him. At that moment, Han Li calmly volunteered to fight the black-robed figure. Lu Yuan Town was surprised that Han Li had taken the initiative. But he soon felt relieved. He warned Han Li to be careful and assured him that if anything went wrong, they would naturally intervene and rescue him. Han Li simply smiled without saying much. Azure light immediately surged around his body as he shot through the sky. In an instant, he arrived before the black-robed figure and stood calmly in midair with his hands behind his back. The black-robed figure carefully examined Han Li. His eyes gradually changed from black to green, creating a strange and monstrous appearance. Han Li narrowed his eyes and directly asked whether the figure was a demon or a ghost. The black-robed man coldly laughed and asked whether Han Li really did not think he was human. As he spoke, thick strands of black qi began wrapping around his body. Soon, ghostly wails echoed through the air while waves of yin wind swept outward. Han Li took a short breath and calmly concluded that the man had originally been human but had apparently cultivated the Tao of demons or ghosts. The black-robed figure mocked Han Li for talking too much and declared that there was no need for him to investigate further because Han Li would soon die by his hand. Dense black qi suddenly surged around his body until it almost completely concealed him from view. He then sinisterly declared that he had no patience to play around and would take Han Li's life immediately. After forming an incantation with his hands, his body suddenly expanded until he became a gigantic figure roughly 6 meters tall. Although the surrounding vortex of yin qi obscured most of his body, Han Li could faintly see 2 horns protruding from beneath the robes and 2 sharp fangs. This monstrous appearance explained why the other cultivators had believed that the unfamiliar spell warrior was some kind of transformed strange creature. Han Li activated the blue light in his eyes and clearly saw the giant figure's terrifying appearance. He was shocked because the monster looked exactly like one of the phantoms of the 6 apex devils that he had encountered when fighting a disciple of Arcsaint 6 Paths. Because of this resemblance, Han Li immediately asked what relationship the giant man had with Arcsaint 6 Paths. After a brief moment of surprise, the giant man sinisterly grinned and denied knowing who Arcsaint 6 Paths was. He accused Han Li of deliberately talking nonsense to stall for time and ordered him to accept his death. He then raised his hand and dispersed some of the black qi, revealing a black object that shot rapidly toward Han Li. The moment the object left the protection of the black qi, it flashed with black light and suddenly disappeared. Han Li's expression became serious. He immediately retreated 10 meters. And at almost the exact same moment, an enormous ghost claw materialized out of thin air at the location where he had been standing. The attack was extremely sudden, but Han Li successfully avoided it. The giant demonic figure was surprised that his attack had missed. Han Li calmly examined the ghost claw and commented that the technique was impressive. He explained that although the giant man was not actually a ghost Dao cultivator, his cultivation of devil Dao techniques allowed him to use methods extremely similar to those of ghost cultivators. Because of this similarity, an opponent who mistook him for a ghost cultivator would undoubtedly suffer greatly. The giant man remained motionless while coldly staring at Han Li. However, he soon launched another attack. Han Li suddenly frowned and blurred 10 meters to the side. Another green ghost claw silently appeared and struck the position where Han Li had previously stood. After missing twice, the giant man could no longer remain completely calm. He asked Han Li whether he had encountered other ghost cultivators before. Since Han Li had managed to dodge both attacks so easily, Han Li smiled and replied that he naturally had. saying that otherwise he could not have avoided the attacks so effortlessly. His statement was only partially truthful. The giant man coldly snorted and acknowledged that Han Li seemed to be an extremely experienced cultivator. However, he argued that even if Han Li understood that he was using Devil Dao techniques, such knowledge would not save him. He then proudly revealed that he cultivated the Heaven Flash Devil arts and declared that Han Li would die in only a moment. Immediately afterward, he released an extremely sharp whistle that was powerful enough to split stone. Seeing this, Han Li's previously relaxed expression finally became serious. The black chi surrounding the giant man began spinning rapidly. Soon, an astonishing wave of devilish chi erupted from within it. The giant man then shot out from the black chi and instantly appeared before Han Li, moving so quickly that numerous afterimages remained behind him. With only a slight movement of his arms, he summoned an overwhelming storm of black-green claws that completely surrounded Han Li. The claws were intended to tear Han Li into countless pieces before he could escape. From the giant man's perspective, ordinary devilish techniques might indeed be restrained by lightning attribute techniques. But the Heaven Flash Devil arts was far from ordinary and should not have been stopped by what he considered mere lightning. Nevertheless, Han Li's calm reaction and apparent knowledge of his techniques made the giant man uneasy. So he decided that he had to eliminate Han Li immediately. Instead of retreating, Han Li took a deep breath and revealed a strange expression. He brought his hands together and then suddenly spread them apart, creating a net of brilliant golden lightning around his body. Thunder continuously echoed through the air as the lightning net surrounded him. Han Li remained completely fearless while observing the countless black-green claws closing in from every direction. The giant black figure immediately ordered the claws to attack without mercy. However, before the claws could successfully tear Han Li apart, something unexpected happened. The giant man suddenly felt intense heat spreading through his own claws, followed almost immediately by unimaginable pain. Brilliant golden light erupted before him. The golden lightning net had actually broken through the incoming claw phantoms and was now expanding toward the giant figure himself. The giant man suddenly remembered an old warning from his master. When he had first learned the Heaven Flash Devil arts, his master had repeatedly warned him about its greatest natural nemesis. However, because he had never encountered an opponent capable of threatening him after mastering the technique, he had gradually forgotten about that warning. Now, seeing the golden lightning, he suddenly realized that Han Li possessed the very power that could counter the Heaven Flash Devil arts. His expression became extremely tense, and his heart sank as he recognized the danger. He immediately cried out in alarm and desperately attempted to escape. His 6-meter-tall body rapidly shrank until he became a dwarf only about 1 meter tall. By reducing his size, he managed to buy himself a brief amount of extra time before the golden lightning net could completely envelop him. During that short interval, his reduced body suddenly fluctuated violently. Then, before the golden lightning net could fully trap him, his body abruptly transformed into countless strands of black light that shot and scattered in every direction. Attempting to escape the deadly golden lightning, Han Li's eyes flashed with cold killing intent as he suddenly shook both hands and released a bolt of lightning toward the golden net. The instant the lightning struck the net, countless golden arcs erupted across its surface, causing the entire net to contract violently. At the same time, the countless black strands of demonic chi collided directly with the golden lightning. Under the overwhelming power of the divine devil bane lightning, the black threads were instantly burned into ashes. Every strand that was destroyed was accompanied by a miserable and tragic scream, revealing the horrifying pain suffered by the trapped black-robed cultivator. The remaining black threads quickly retreated toward the center of the golden net and condensed into a glossy black demon nascent soul. Its face was filled with terror as it realized that even its physical body had been destroyed and that its nascent soul was now directly exposed to Han Li's attack. Desperate to protect itself, the demon nascent soul opened its mouth and released enormous clouds of pitch-black yin qi. The yin qi rapidly spread outward and wrapped around its body in countless layers. Attempting to form a final defense against the divine devil bane lightning, Han Li remained completely expressionless, with only a brief sneer appearing on his face. He then raised his hand and released another bolt of lightning. This bolt was so dazzling and brilliant that it was almost impossible to look directly at it. The terrifying divine devil bane lightning instantly pierced through the layers of yin qi and completely enveloped the demon nascent soul. A final miserable scream rang out before the surrounding thunder gradually subsided, leaving the battlefield silent for a moment. Seeing that his opponent had been completely annihilated and that even the nascent soul had failed to escape, Han Li inwardly sighed in relief. He withdrew the remaining lightning, took the pitch-black storage pouch left behind by the black-robed cultivator, and calmly raised his head to sweep his gaze across the spell warriors above. Without showing any pride or excitement, azure light surrounded his body as he flew back toward the heavenly south cultivators. The entire exchange had been extraordinarily brief. After only a few words and a short confrontation, Han Li had killed the black-robed cultivator with the divine Devilbane lightning at astonishing speed. The heavenly south cultivators were completely dumbfounded, while the Molan spell warriors were even more deeply shaken. The heavenly south cultivators did not know the detailed origins of the mysterious black-robed cultivators, but they understood that these people had apparently come from a great continent far away. For reasons they did not understand, the black-robed cultivators had appeared in the Molan plains and reached some kind of agreement with the Molan tribe's 3 divine sages. Their strength was clearly far beyond that of ordinary cultivators of the same cultivation level. Before the true war had even begun, 2 heavenly south nascent soul cultivators had already been killed one after another by these mysterious experts, which had greatly strengthened the confidence of the Molan sages. The black-robed figure had participated in this second battle because he had noticed that a large number of nascent soul cultivators were guarding the Grand Formation. He believed it would be advantageous to kill one of them while he had the opportunity, thereby weakening the formation's defenders. However, no one could have expected that the seemingly ordinary young cultivator Han Li would possess such terrifying strength. Not only had Han Li killed the black-robed cultivator with ease, but he had also completely destroyed his nascent soul, leaving absolutely no possibility for escape. This outcome shocked the 2 Molan sages. After finally recovering from their shock, the shriveled spell warrior and Ku Yao exchanged frightened glances. They hesitated over whether they should continue the battle or first deal with the disturbance and loss of morale among the spell warriors behind them. At that moment, a faint and almost inaudible voice suddenly sounded beside their ears. The voice calmly ordered them to retreat for the time being, explaining that their momentum had already been lost and that they should reconsider their plans the following day. The speaker further implied that by then, the Grand Formation might already be in a different condition, and although Heavenweep's death would cause some inconvenience, he would personally explain the matter to the divine sages. The commanding tone left no room for argument. The shriveled spell warrior and Ku Yao were stunned for a moment, but they quickly obeyed and began issuing retreat orders to the spell warriors under their command. The enormous Molan army turned around amid some disorder and gradually withdrew from the battlefield. The 2 sages stayed behind to guard the rear, gloomily watching the heavenly south cultivators as they retreated. Before leaving, they paid particular attention to Han Li, glaring at him with obvious hostility before finally flying away. Jiyu Shuangpu watched the retreating army and asked whether they should pursue the enemy. Lu Yuan Town immediately shook his head and refused. He explained that although the Molan army was retreating, they had not actually suffered a decisive defeat. If the heavenly south cultivators pursued them carelessly, they might instead be surrounded and fall into an ambush. In addition, their most important responsibility was still to protect the Grand Formation. The Yellow Dragon Mountain's Thousand Soundform Formation was extremely powerful and difficult to break. If the Molan tribes wanted to seize it, they would need to bring at least twice as many forces as they currently possessed. After saying this, Lu Yuan Town could not help turning his attention toward Han Li. The successful killing of the black-robed cultivator had created an awkward silence among the heavenly south cultivators because everyone was still trying to comprehend what had just happened. Han Li, meanwhile, merely wore a faint smile while casually playing with the black storage pouch in his hand. In the past, his faint smile had attracted little attention from the other cultivators, but after witnessing him effortlessly kill a nascent soul cultivator, that same smile now gave them a strange and profound feeling. Their previous contempt for Han Li had completely disappeared, replaced by obvious admiration and respect. Lu Yuan Town smiled and congratulated Han Li on killing a high-grade spell warrior. He promised to report Han Li's achievement to the Nine Nations Alliance and stated that the alliance would certainly reward him generously. Old Man Ma and Jiyu Shuangpu also congratulated Han Li with smiles. and their tones now clearly contained admiration for his strength. Han Li's expression remained subtle and calm despite their praise. He simply exchanged several courteous words with them while his gaze unconsciously moved toward one particular person. When nobody noticed his action, an indistinct smirk appeared on his face, hinting that he was thinking about something that the others did not know. Once the Molan army had completely disappeared from sight, Lu Yuan town opened a passage into the mist below. The group quickly entered the passage, and the mist soon closed behind them, once again concealing the entrance. The surroundings of the Yellow Dragon Mountains gradually returned to peace. After Han Li and the others returned to the main hall, they briefly discussed the battles that had taken place that day before everyone went back to their respective residences to rest. Old Man Ma was in particularly poor condition. His treasured magic artifact had been destroyed, and he had also suffered a significant loss of vitality during the battle, leaving him in urgent need of recovery. Before long, everyone had left the hall except for Lu Yuan town. He remained seated in the main building, lowering his head as he silently contemplated the events of the day. After a short period of time, he suddenly raised an eyebrow, and a strange expression appeared on his face. He immediately called out, asking whoever was hiding nearby to come out. A flash of light appeared, and another person materialized inside the hall. The newcomer laughed and praised Brother Lu's profound abilities, remarking that Lu Yuan town had detected him immediately despite his stealth. He added that it was no wonder the Nine Nations Alliance had entrusted Lu Yuan town with guarding the formation alone. Lu Yuan town frowned suspiciously and asked why this person had returned instead of resting and why he had secretly come back. The man calmly replied that he had discovered an important secret and believed they needed to discuss it. When Lu Yuan town asked what secret he had discovered, the man immediately made a shocking accusation. Han Li of the Drifting Cloud sect was likely a spy for the Molan. Lu Yuan town could not help laughing in disbelief. He pointed out that Han Li had just killed a nascent soul spell warrior that very day, making the idea of him being a Molan spy seem completely absurd. However, the man insisted that he understood why Lu Yuan town would not believe him, but claimed that he possessed concrete evidence that would prove his accusation. With a flash of light, he summoned a jade slip into his hand and slowly approached Lu Yuan town before offering it to him. Lu Yuan town was astonished by the confidence of the accusation and calmly accepted the jade slip. However, the instant the jade slip entered his hand, his expression suddenly changed. The jade slip transformed into a small emerald green snake, which instantly lunged forward and bit his wrist with lightning speed. The attack happened so quickly that Lu Yuan town could not even react. A look of shock appeared on his face, but before he could utter a single scream, his body became completely motionless and collapsed to the floor. His complexion rapidly turned a terrifying black-violet color as the poison spread through his body. The assassin looked delighted by the result and praised the twin-tailed jade serpent, stating that its poison was truly as terrifying as its reputation and was almost no weaker than the 10 supreme poisons. Once bitten, even a nascent soul cultivator would lose the ability to escape, making the serpent an extremely terrifying assassination weapon. He further remarked that if the serpent were capable of flying, its ability to kill other cultivators would become even more frightening. The tiny dark green serpent then released its fangs from the corpse and slowly crawled away, exposing the 2 slender tails on its back. Its 2 tails struck against the ground, allowing it to launch itself directly into its master's palm. It coiled around itself in his hand, hissed with its purple-black tongue, and stared out with eerie dark green eyes. The assassin then casually waved his hand and took Lu Yuan town's storage pouch. He immediately extended his spiritual sense into it and excitedly began searching through its contents, clearly looking for a particular item.